ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. So today's session we will have more as a discussion. So reasonably we have gone through two works actually. One is Upanishad itself, which is Kenopanishad, and the other one is Vivekachudhamani. So this has every content that is supposed to help a person overcome ignorance and realize oneself. So since we have gone through this, I think we have to do more of Nididhyasana, which is more contemplation on these lines what we have seen until now, which is what basically Vichara is all about. And such a contemplation alone can refine the understanding. So that's the reason I thought what we should do is we should keep revisiting this and discussing and clarifying doubts wherever they occur, and only when the concepts are 100% assimilated one can overcome ignorance. So this would be the way forward to assimilate everything what we have seen till now. And if we assimilate any one work also, even the smallest of the Upanishad, job is done. So that is how it is. For example, cricket can be played in a test cricket format, 5 days, and it can be played in a 1 day format, 50 overs, and these days it is also being played in 20 overs format, T20. If you see the length of different Upanishads, I think some of the smallest ones would be like Kenopanishad, and there's one more. Mandukya Upanishad is even smaller in terms of number of verses. And Brihadaranyaka Upanishad and Chandogya Upanishad, I think they have more than around 700 verses. Around 700 verses they have. So, irrespective of the size of work, every Upanishad and every Prakarana Grantha like Vivekachudhamani and like Bhagavad Gita, they all have the same theme, starting from more to do with Sadhana Chatushtaya, which includes the important parts of mind control, Shraddha and Mumukshutvam, going to Vichara. So this kind of a format is employed in every Upanishad. Every Upanishad starts, every work related to Atma Vidya starts with question, and the answers are given to a particular question, and they are not just given automatically. That's where the context is very clear. In Veda Purva, they are all injunctions where a person consulting Veda Purva is either going for Chitta Shuddhi or he is going for material karma phala, laukika vishaya. So a person who's going for a material pursuit is only concentrating on the output which he wants. For example, if King Dasharatha himself, when he wanted to beget children, he consulted the Veda Pandits, and they said, fine, you perform Putra Kamishti Yaga. For every material gain, there was a process, there was a yajna that was available and prescribed in Veda Shastra. Veda Shastra is like that. I don't even need to say was like that. It is like that even today. If I'm sure if someone wants to perform Putra Chemistry even today, if it is done in the same way it is prescribed, it will still work, because it is just technology. Since it is technology, normally a person, when he goes to get that particular result, he only wants the outcome, so he will be given only that much to help him get the output. So this is why in Karma Khanda, in Veda Purva Bhaga, what we have is all injunctions. Just do this, do that, do this, do that, because it is towards a goal. And that goal many a times can also be to get Chitta Shuddhi, mostly yes. And many a times purely a material pursuit. It can be to win a kingdom, or it can be to win over others, it can be to get fame, or it can be even to get progeny. So all this, for everything there is a corresponding ritual. However, a person who is growing out of the material world, after having realized that material gains do not last longer, most of us have pursued material things, and we have realized that the outcome of any material pursuit is lasting only for some time, and over a period they either wane off, or the utility that they give to us, that wanes off. Either our attitude towards that outcome changes, or the outcome itself changes. For example, Dhritarashtra also wanted kids. He got Duryodhana. He was happy initially. After that, with whatever he did against Dharma, obviously he was not very comfortable. Though, since he had bondage and attachment towards his son, he had to support all those wrong deeds as well, because that is where bondage, binds a person. That's where ignorance binds a person to it. So he had definitely discomfort while being in that bondage. He certainly had discomfort, because whenever someone neutral came and spoke with Dhritarashtra, he knew somewhere inside that his son was wrong and he was defending his wrong actions. So it was very clear. So either the outcome itself changes, because sometimes someone comes and that person goes off more quicker than anyone else from a time perspective. That can happen. Or the second thing that can happen is our attitude towards that particular outcome can change. So both these we have seen that in material pursuit, this is a limitation. Though people can enjoy, continue, the realization is that every material pursuit, it has got two sides. You have happiness, you have sadness in the same outcome. Both sides we have. It's just time when it flips, the other side gets activated. Again, the previous side, the good side can get activated, again time. So what is happening is every outcome is subject to time. So this is how Kala becomes very important. And a person who has understood this very early in life also sometimes is the person who wants to know a little bit more than what is this world and what is this material world all about. Is there something beyond this? What is happening? Why things are happening? What is the background? So-called kind of, a root cause analysis. So a person, when he is a little bit more contemplative, trying to come out of material world or challenge material world to understand why material world is like this and what is the background of all these things, that is when this mumukshutvam part is there. Okay, there is something more to be known, which is going to help me to progress in this journey. And the expectation always from a mental perspective is that that status should be giving long, kind of happiness which will last longer. So this is where the person who is maturing from material world is getting into the other side with an expectation. Certainly there is an expectation. When we say Vairagya as one of the sadhana chatushtaya, where a person has to develop the strength to be able to give up the karma phala, the fruits of one's own actions, whether in this world or any other world. Because we always also gain punya, right, by giving charity. We are saying we are giving away now, but with an expectation that we will have punya which we can exchange or redeem in another world. So that is the expectation. So Vairagya is that ability, that strength where we don't care for the karma phala, we are able to do karma phala tyaga, whether in this world or any other world. So though that is the expectation, however, this person who is a mumukshu, the one who wants moksha, who is maturing and growing out of the material world and material pursuits, he still has an expectation. What is the expectation? He wants that happiness which lasts longer. His problem was most of the pursuits end up in happiness. That happiness itself wanes away over a period of time. It is challenged, and this kind of limited happiness is what he is worried about. And the limited happiness can be, that length can be anything. It can be 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, 1 minute. It can be any time. But point is that it is limited, and it is very well recognized and realized by this person. Now when he is going to the next level, again it is mind. Mind is the one which is frustrated, okay, and mind only wants the relief, and mind is hopeful that mind has recognized that it doesn't want this kind of limited ananda. It wants ananda which lasts longer. But once you get into Shastra, you will understand what is that length of time. What is manas? Is manas the beneficiary? Is manas the long lasting thing which can ever enjoy this ananda? All this comes in vichara. The status of manas itself is questioned over a period of time in vichara. But as a mumukshu is a package of body, mind, sense complex, a karta embroiled in mind, body, mind, sense complex. In this complex, a karta, basically a karta is embroiled in this, and he thinks and he operates from the level of manas and buddhi only, and he wants to pursue that longer lasting ananda. So it is ever, that is known later. But from a reality perspective, for example, if we look at a pension, if you want to create a corpus for pension, we all know, we are all practical, I hope so. And when we look at a corpus, which can give us that monthly kind of amount in line with our expectations of spending. And normally, if for example, if I put myself as like I'm about 55 years now, so I will want to ensure I have to put how much money I need per month and how long. That is an amazing thing one has to decide. So this is a very critical thing. You can't even go and ask another person. If the other person says, 10 saal ke liye dal do, you mean to say I'll be there only up to 65 years, you'll get stuck. Okay, so how long? So this is kind of a dilemma to anyone. One thing what we will normally do, ठीक है, जो maximum बताया वो देख लेते हैं. Whatever we know is maximum. In our family, if we have seen some elderly person living up to 120 years, we will say 120 तो है ही अपना. This is like Kapil Dev's 175 in Zimbabwe. वो है benchmark ना, ठीक है, 125. So another 50 years we want. Okay, then this person will think it is better to work up to 65 years also if the company extends time. So that those thinking and all will come. But finally, all of us want to have something for a length of time. So that length of time, happiness for a length of time, comfort for a length of time is recognized very well by mind. That's the background with which this person jumps out of material world where he is fraught with all these problems, and somewhere he knows that there is some solution which is being offered by Veda Antabhaga, and that is how they resort and they take asylum into Vedanta with that expectation. And this is the natural expectation in anyone for that matter. So with that expectation, when people are coming in, that's where Vedanta picks up the context. Shruti Mata is available to a person who wants moksha. And this is how every Upanishad starts with a background where a person asks a question. This is where it is. Or he's saying that there is a problem. That's where it starts, and that's where the context is set very clearly. The dialogue then continues from there. So it's always a dialogue in Vedanta. In Veda Purva, it is more an injunction. Just it is said, do this, do that, that's it. No dialogues involved, no questions involved, no opportunity for clarifications. Because if you want a Mercedes-Benz car, you can go to the dealer, buy, and then use it because you want material sukha. But if you have to understand how this Mercedes-Benz car is built up, you have to get into IIT, understand everything, get into the R&D of Mercedes-Benz company. Only then you will get to know what is that concept that is running this Mercedes-Benz car. So, if you have to know the concepts, one has to come to Vedanta. That is what we have done now. This is what we are in. This is the journey we are in now. In Vivekachudhamani, that question part was occurring in the lines where where the person who was expressing the problem, who was the student there, he said that in that particular verse, Durvara samsara davagni taptam dodhuyamanam duradrishtavataihi bhitam prapannam paripahi mrityoho sharanamanyam yadaham na jane. So this person came and said that it's like a tempest. I mean, I'm stuck by this material world like a tempest. I've got caught into this kind of a situation, and also in fact the air is kind of so hot that it's kind of burning me, davagni taptam, and this air is also bothering me actually to an extent that I am having fear of death. Bhitam prapannam paripahi mrityoho sharanamanyam yadaham na jane. So I am kind of overwhelmed by the fear of death, and I don't find any other asylum. I have come to you, Guru, for asylum. So this is how we go and approach Shruti Mata. And when we go to a Guru, obviously he is representing Shruti Mata. All that we are going and approaching is basically Shruti Mata, Vedanta. We are going and approaching Shruti Mata. Please help me, I am stuck. So when we do not know any other way, we are seeking to Vedanta, having understood that that's the best thing which many have used and expressed their gratitude after having utilized that particular body of knowledge. Each one, after going through Vedanta, has very clearly expressed, oh, this is great and this is the greatest thing I could have ever achieved. Thanks. So this kind of a gratitude is mostly expressed in most of the work. You will see that. I will also mention that later. So it started with this kind of a statement by the person who wanted to know. And later, when Guru says, the problem you are facing has its root in Ajnana. Remove Ajnana, you are already that everlasting Ananda which you are looking for. All that you need to do is only remove Ajnana. So that's what he says. It is because of bandha, bondage, it is happening. The moment this was said, what was the next dialogue? The next dialogue was, this person was asking naturally, oh, is it so? Then what is bondage? How does this come about? How is this established? How to come out of this? What is Atma? What is Anatma? What is the difference between these two? So 7 questions were asked. So in one go, he just asked all the questions. After that, he was just quite listening to what Guru was saying for a length of time. So that verse was, Ko nama bandha, kathamesha agatah, katham pratishtasya, katham vimokshah, ko asau anatma, paramah ka atma, tayor vivekah kathametaduchyatam. This was the verse. After this, then Guru said, in fact, before this actually, when he was saying that I am stuck with this kind of a tempest and this burning air, Guru tells him, saying that don't worry, there is this way which everyone else also has seen, and everyone else also had the similar, many others also had similar problems, and they crossed this route by this kind of a treatment. So we all have this treatment, right? There is a therapy for everything. So Guru says there has been a therapy that has been working well all the time, which is Vedanta therapy. And he says that whatever therapy others used to cross this, I can teach you the same thing. So that verse was Ma Bhaishta. He's saying, don't worry, don't be afraid. Vidvams Tava. He addresses him, he addresses that person as a Vidwan. Because at least he has understood that there is a problem in material life. To that extent, he has realized that, not exactly, being subject to that all the time. At least he has realized that. So to that extent, he is a Vidwan. So he is addressing him as Vidvams Tava, Vidwan Tava. Nastyapayah. For you, there is no fear. Don't worry. Ma bheshta vidvams tava nastyapayah. Samsara sindhostarane astyupayah. There is a way to cross this ocean of samsara. The ocean is ajnana basically, and the attendant problems which comes with ajnana. Eneva yata yatayo asya param tameva margam tava nirdishami. So that path which people used to cross this ocean, I will give you the same path, do not worry about it. So this is how he said, and then it was followed by those questions about what is bondage, and then Guru explains everything, and that's where that vichara should happen. And the way it is depicted is that while vichara was happening, the person has already realized, and that is how the person concludes. In Vivekachudhamani, it's very beautifully depicted. He says that after having realized oneself, after having overcome ignorance, that Shishya tells Guru, saying, Dhanyoham, Kritakrityoham, Vimuktoham Bhavagrahat, Nityananda Swarupoham, Purnoham, Tvadanugrahat. He's saying, like, I am expressing my gratitude, I am blessed, Dhanyoham, Kritakrityoham, I have done what is supposed to be done. In Purushartha of human birth, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Moksha is the maximum thing, the best thing that has to be achieved. Other things are all time pass. We can keep doing the time pass, keep having birth, but Moksha is that one which is going to see that you are back in that form, in that Swarupa, Ananda. So that Moksha, so Kritakrityoham. So having born as a human being, I have done what was supposed to be done. Dhanyoham, Kritakrityoham, Vimuktoham, Bhavagrahat. That ocean of samsara which I was worried about, I have come out of it, I am liberated out of it. Vimuktoham, Bhavagrahat. Nityananda Swarupoham. So my nature is Nitya Ananda. My nature is Swarupa Ananda itself. Nityananda Swarupoham. Purnoham. I am complete. I am complete person. I do not have any limitation. I am full. I am one. Purnoham. Tvad anugrahat. Because of your grace. Your grace basically means what? Shastra's grace. So he expresses that. And the next line he says, Swarajya Samrajya Vibhuti Resha Bhavat Kripa Shri Mahita Prasadat Praptamaya He Gurave Mahatmane Namo Namastestu Punarnamostu. So what he is saying is, since I got this knowledge through you, salutations to you, great help, thanks. That's what he is saying. So after that, Guru says, fine, good that you learned, and enjoy your life with this thoughts. Now that you have realized, be in this thought, be wherever you want to, be with this thought all the time. So that's what he says, and then he leaves. So basically, this is a format which we saw in Vivekachudhamani. This is very much the format in every Upanishad. So Vivekachudhamani is a work by Shankaracharya, where he wanted to present in a particular way after having assimilated all Upanishads. So he has of course seen all Upanishads. How do we know that? His work is available even today as a bhashyam which he has written on 10 Upanishads. In fact, we have 10 Upanishads today salvaged only because he has written Bhashyam and that tradition is continuing. There are people who succeeded him as Acharyas and they are still propitiating these. That's the reason we are having it. There are some more Upanishads as well, but for 10 Upanishads, Shankaracharya has written Bhashyam. And while writing Bhashyam, what is established? Why he had to write Bhashyam? Okay. The same law book, if we have, there will be 10 interpretations. And each one will hold that that interpretation is correct. So, in Vedanta also, there were 3 interpretations. One interpretation was that the Jivatma and Paramatma, they eternally are separate. And Jivatma is meant to do puja for Paramatma. That's the ultimate thing. Is the understanding from the same source. So one Acharya said, okay, this is what it is for. And another Acharya said, no, it is not that much separate as well. It's kind of, Jivatma since it is small, Paramatma since it is total, you can say that this is a part of it. It's not separate from it, it is a part of it. So this is the second understanding. It's a qualified non-dualism, they call it, that is Vishishtadvaita. And the first one, what I said was Dvaita. Whereas in Advaita view, it says that Jiva is equal to Parama, it is not less in any measure. So the Aikya part is only in Advaita, nowhere else. So, for example, if there is a Prime Minister and you are the subject, okay, the equanimity will be, for example, in the case of a subject and Prime Minister being different person, there will be always a distance, because Dvaita mein, there is always a distance very clearly laid out. But in the other one, if it is said, no, in any case, you are also part of the democracy only. He is also part of the same democracy. He is just another person. He is given a role. You are given a role. For example, if I am heading the finance of a company, but I am also citizen of India. And he is also citizen of India. He has been given the role to just take care of the country. There are many people below him supporting him. If, like, I am a part of the same total thing only, that is being said. So, you guys are, almost kind of there, but then of course, that is always bigger. You are a part of the another thing. So, being part of a bigger thing doesn't give, that kind of a equanimity, because you are still a part. That sense that you are a small thing is always there. But when I realize that, for example, actually I am the Prime Minister, I forgot that I am the Prime Minister, I am Modi only. It's just that I just forgot that I am someone else and I didn't know that I am the Prime Minister. If I just know that, then job is done. So that's where, Nityavastu Ekam Brahma is anchored first, world is kept aside, and the world is kept aside by us even before. In the material world also, we knew world is so big and we are small. That was very clearly there. So world is in any case outside of us, that's our understanding. Witness is one person, the one who's coming for this vichara, and Nityavastu Ekam, that creator part was kept as an anchor. To be finally informed later that that's you only, Tattvamasi, Tattvameva Asi. To be informed later. If this culmination is not there as an event, there is no use of Vedanta. Shankaracharya says that for gold to be, for a person to see something as gold, you don't need a chemical instrument to say it is gold. If it is an ornament, you see that is gold only. Of course, you have fake and all, that's the reason you may have to have checking instrument these days, that's a different thing. But for something which is not apparently clear, that's the reason you need Shastra. Because it is not apparent, that's the reason you need Vichara. But for a mundane thing, if I know already that God is, there is a creator who is big enough, world itself is big enough, the one who has created me and the world has to be big enough in any case, no. And I already have the small feeling, yes, I am small and he is big. And definitely, somewhere either I will be frustrated and say, God, what kuch nahi here, forget everything. So, but that's because of frustration, I may say that, because I don't see in any case, no. I can say that, or I can take it that, from a maturity that, yes, I am sure I have not created this world. There is someone who has created this world as well as me. And my parents have not created, grandparents also have not created. No one has created this world actually. That means someone else has created. So that guy should be definitely super boss, all Shaktiman, he has to be. Definitely he has to be. So with that approach, if we go, let the ego go a little lighter and become a bhakta, saying that, okay, I surrender myself to this entire system with the not a total surrender, with a different way, actually saying, fine, I bow. If that is the case, you are a bhakta. There is no doubt about it. That can lead you and give you chitta shuddhi for some time, but cannot help further to that, unless there is vichara and unless there is a body of knowledge and a guru or Shruti Mata and true guru who can say that your problem actually is not there because, or rather, your problem is there because you have not understood your Swarupa. Understand your Swarupa, remove your ignorance, everything will be clear. There is no problem even to resolve actually, and that's where it ends. So the Aikya part comes in that actually. So Shankaracharya was someone who had to take this task of avoiding the misconceptions and say that this is what is said and prove it. In fact, he had proven it through arguments through everyone, and it is shown that he was successful everywhere, and his work itself shows that he was successful, because you have the Mimamsa Shastra, which was the various arguments which he had done is all documented, and it is available to us even today. Now, in this, do we say that the other aspect is totally wrong? In between one or other one, is it totally wrong? No, each one has its place. For example, though at that point in time, each of the acharyas were holding on very tight to their views. If you see Advaita Vedanta, in Upanishad itself, the word Advitiya comes, Brahmadvitiyam, Ekadvitiyam, Ekameva Advitiyam. So this word and all comes in Upanishad itself actually, which is known to the other acharyas also. If it itself says Brahma Advitiyam, it is Ekam. So how Dve, how second thing, how it can come into even in a question actually, it's not possible. So it's quite rational actually if you see the Advaita philosophy as such. But the basic bare act we call it is Upanishad only. From there the commentaries come. Now, if you see what is the relevance of each of this, is there a limitation? No. As a person, when we were materialistic, we wanted certain things. We were having upasana. We were anchoring, our confidence in a particular murti or form or anything for that matter. And we have been going through that, using that for our material pursuits. Nothing wrong. So Dvaita definitely is useful. Nothing wrong. Everyday transaction is Dvaita only. The real transactions every day, what's happening is Dvaita only actually. And as a maturity, it's okay to understand that if everything is him, you are in that everything only. So you are a part of that only, na? So that definitely can be also a concept. Nothing wrong in it. The only thing is, if we are in 1 and 2, the stage 1 and 2, our sense of being limited, our boundary which we have drawn as a size for us, will always thrive. And we will still be an inquirer. What is happening when we get into Advaita Vedanta is that the bubble is burst. In the previous ones, the bubble is always there. For example, in the first one, if we say figuratively that God is the biggest bubble, and you are a smaller bubble, we say that this bubble and that bubble, they can never be together. They are just separate. So you have one huge bubble and a small speck of bubble which is just next to it, and you relate to God with this way, in this way. And this bubble has to always do puja to other person, bhakti always in the seva of the Lord. Now, in the second one, Vishishtadvaita, what we discussed, if we say that there is a total bubble, within the total bubble, there is a small bubble. So you imagine it that way. But the point that you are a bubble still continues. The only difference is, in the first one, the small bubble was outside of the large bubble. In the second one, the small bubble is inside the large bubble. That's the only progress that has happened there. When this bubble comes to Shastra and the right interpretation, what is given in Upanishad? Upanishad uses the words Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi. It says Brahmadvitiyam. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahmasi. So all these words are all directly saying that you are that ultimate thing. What happens is the small bubble bursts. The moment small bubble bursts, that particular ego, that particular mind, which was created as a bubble, and that bubble was good enough to separate itself from the totality and have that sense and keep thriving with that sense all the time, though being in the totality, that bubble is burst. That ignorance is that particular place where the prick has to happen and bubble will burst. So when bubble bursts, we don't need to figuratively take that, it's figurative, ignorance going out. Body need not disintegrate. Body disintegrating is only death. Body disintegrating is death. But the thought that there is this I and that, kind of a boundary which is fixed, that continues, eventually that will be blown into another bubble. That's all. This may be earlier it was a surf bubble. This time it can be a ring bubble. That's the only difference. But bubble remains as a bubble and it thinks it is the smaller bubble, either in the second one or the first one. One of this bubble, it always takes itself to be a bubble. It has to burst and the prick has to happen at the place of Ajnana, wherever it is. And Ajnana definitely is not located in our toenails. It is not located in our hair. If it was the case, with one of the haircut, we would have lost Ajnana, we would have given up Ajnana. Unfortunately, it is not the case. Ajnana is located in mind, where we identify ourselves, through which we identify ourselves, and we understand that we are that. This is where Ajnana is. That mind which has this understanding that I am this should be brought to this session to say that, was you have an understanding, you have a view, you have a bondage, it's all okay. You have to understand that. That understanding only is the problem. This is where the criticality comes. It's very precarious for Shastra to even approach a person. If someone is walking on the road and say, hey, you are feeling you are small, right? Please listen to me. You have a problem because you have Ajnana. And just evening, by the way, come to my class. If Shruti Mata comes and says, I will tell you. This guy will say, what nonsense. I am worried about my office work. I am crossing the road. Forget all this. I am worried about present thing now. This is what this person will say. So that is what mind is all about actually. Unless a person has matured and grown out of the initial material world, there is no leisure available even to listen to anyone for that matter. Even if Shruti Mata comes, no one has time to listen actually. This is how it is. So the inner leisure has to be there, which has to be the starting point. Then Vichara starts, then the right knowledge comes in, things happen, job done. This is how it is working. So Vivekachudhamani presented a brilliant format of this journey of a person and getting into Mumukshutvam and being offered Vichara, and he analyzing everything and understanding and expressing gratitude, going out, job done, finished with a prayer. Same thing we saw in Kenopanishad, where the concepts were told first, and the question, what was the starting question? Keneshitam patati preshitam manah kena pranah pratama praiti yuktah keneshitam vachamimam vadanti chakshushrotram kaudevo yunakti. So ordained by whom? These indriyas, these jnanendriyas fall on the respective objects. How? I see something, I get attracted. How? What is behind this? What is that force that is behind this? So he was asking that, because he was not saying that Karma Indriya is creating a problem for me. I want to get resolution. I want to get permanent solution. Please let me know. This is the real thing he is saying. That's what he was explaining in saying Keneshitam patati preshitam manaha. That's where it started. And threadbare things were analyzed in the sense of sense organs itself, where the question was based on. And then it was also expanded more by giving an illustration in the form of Devas, Devasura Yuddha, Devas winning and owning the victory and attributing only to themselves and forgetting the totality in which everything else is happening. That's where Shruti Mata, Uma comes as Shruti Mata, she is Shruti Mata, and she gives the knowledge. So that depiction was very nicely done there actually. It's a happening or not happening, it's a different thing altogether. We have a problem, we need a solution, let's go out of it. Take it and then let's go out of it. That's it. That's where Vichara concentrates. So it was also seen, the same model was seen in Kenopanishad, though it was little kind of lesser in number of verses but quite loaded. And many a times when it is quite loaded, it becomes difficult for people to understand. This is why Acharyas will have to find different ways of making it much more threadbare. So Vivekachudhamani has 585 verses, almost 586 or 585 verses. So it was expanded so much to make it things, for others. Of course, we saw that work where they had removed certain thematic repetitions, and Swami Paramarathananda had selected 108 verses, for which the lectures of Swami Dayananda Saraswati was published in that book. We followed that book, 108 verses of Vivekachudhamani. That's what we followed. So the theme is the same. We have gone through two works. One is Vivekachudhamani and one is Kenopanishad. This base, whatever we have gone through, is quite enough to trigger further discussions, because what is to be said is already said in these two works. And it is from this background that I thought that people have to go back to this only, come out with more doubts and assimilate these two works only. And as long as this assimilation happens, one has to continue doing this. There is no other way. And once a person cracks, yes, Aham Brahmasmi, absolutely I don't have any more doubt. No more requirement of satsanga, no more requirement of any discussion. In fact, you will become a person who can guide others. Simple as this. So we have to understand that this is a pursuit which has an end. The pursuit is starting with Atma, Ajnana, going towards Adhikaratva, preparing one's mind, and listening to Shastra, which is Vichara, cracking the problem, coming out of it. That's all. This has a very, very clear timeline, you call it. Timeline is okay. It can be 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. It can be 1 minute for a person. It can be any time for that matter. But it's an event, and this pursuit has a very clear end. Very, very clear end. Because certain things become eternal. For example, if you see this gentleman, who's this? The greatest investor, I forget his name.
Warren Buffett.
Warren Buffett. Thanks, Ashish. Warren Buffett. Even today, he wants to keep investing. He must be doing this for 30 years. But today also he wants to income, because every time the previous base, the previous income, the previous benchmark is the base. From there he has to grow. From there. So it's always that actually the pursuit is just endless. Whether it is upasana, whether it is pure materialistic pursuit, both these do not have any kind of this one. I can give the illustration of Sage Vishwamitra, where we know that he also wanted to attain the status of Brahma Rishi. Okay, so normally we will think that Brahma Rishi means with all powers, like the one who knows to use Brahmastra. So we like a nuclear power. So we think that is a material thing, but that was not the real thing, if you ask me. That Brahma Rishi status, that discussion was between him, and the challenge was between him and sage Vasishtha. Vasishtha was a Brahmagyani, Brahma Rishi, and also he was a Brahmagyani. That's the reason I think he was called a Brahma Rishi. So Vasishtha said that you can afford to have Kamadhenu, which can give everything. I think Kamadhenu was the starting point of I think their fight. You can have this provided you become a Brahma Rishi. This is what he said. He said, fine, I'll become one. And he thought tapasya and upasana was the thing, and he did tapasya. So while doing tapasya, it's a very nice depiction actually of one's life. See, when you want to have power, when you want to have possession, and with that idea you are taking any kind of a pursuit, definitely there will be difficulties. In any pursuit there will be difficulties. But the problem is, in material pursuits, where you want power, fame, money, everything, even after getting the outcome, there will be a problem. While getting the outcome also there will be a problem. After getting the outcome also there will be a problem. What happened there? This gentleman, he went and he did penance. First of all, Indra was worried. If someone is so well behaved and he will get all the powers from Shiva and others, and then my question, my power will be I'll be overpowered. You never know whether he also becomes like Ravana or someone else who challenges me later. So let me not allow him to gain that kind of powers. You see what USA does when someone wants to come up to a nuclear power level, they will go and stop and sabotage that actually. The same thing, everything I think all these things they are given in our Purana. So when Vishwamitra was in his penance, he got very good improvement, in whatever stages he had got. Indra didn't like, he sent Apsaras to, disturb his penance. And Maya being what it is, mind being what it is, it can definitely get deviated. And Vishwamitra unfortunately fell a prey to those designs as well. So again he had to gather, he had already undone what he had done. Again he had to do, every time he had to put incremental efforts. And every time he put incremental efforts, he came back and told Vasishta ji saying, boss, now I have gained this. Now I am a Brahmarishi. Am I a Brahmarishi or not? One good thing about Vishwamitra ji was, he wanted Vasishta to say that this gentleman is a Brahmarishi. To that extent, at least probably he had that Shraddha. Every time he wanted to be equal of Vasishta, become a Brahmarishi. So every time he achieved something, he came back and said, I think I have achieved this now, I am a Brahmarishi, am I not? Vasishta used to say, no, go again and do something more. He never asked him what he is supposed to do. Perhaps he just was doing on his own. That's the reason Vasishta said, no, you have to progress further. And I think the last he did was, what Vishwamitra did was, he said that fine, I will now get the maximum power, which is kind of proclaimed as the maximum power, I will get that now. So what he did, he penanced and he got Brahmastra. It is like the nukes only, if you ask me. He got Brahmastra. He came and asked again Sage Vasishta, saying that, hey Rishi, now I have got Brahmastra, what do you want to say? He said, no, still you are not a Brahmarishi. He said, what do you mean actually? See, Vishwamitra was known for his anger. What do you mean actually? I mean, you're like a nut actually. I've done so many things. I've got so many things actually. Okay, you had Kamadhenu, this power, that power. I have Brahmastra also with me now. You mean to say I'm still not a Brahmarishi? Then he becomes so furious. He says that now I'm going to use it on you. And he releases the Brahmastra on him. Only to find that Sage Vasishta had something called Brahmadanda, which alone could swallow Brahmastra. So if you ask me from a research perspective, if we take this as a clue from our Shastra, perhaps there is something which can neutralize even a nuke missile. Probably. There is something. So maybe we can take a clue from this, but this is what is depicted in our Purana. Sage Vasishta had something called Brahmadanda, which stopped Brahmastra. So Vishwamitra was foxed actually. He was told that is the greatest Astra. Moment you would give, anything in front of you is going to be destroyed. In fact, there will be mass destruction. This is what he was told. When Sage Vasishta is able to stop it, he was like, "Ye kya hai? Popat bana diya? How come?" Then he thinks, something is basically wrong. I don't know what he does after that. Then he does something, and that's how he becomes a Brahmarishi. In fact, he creates this Gayatri Mantra, and Gayatri Mantra is Brahma Vidya. Maybe sometime I can explain that sometime. Gayatri Mantra, if you see from a Vedanta perspective, it is just Upanishad. And imagine this entire Upanishad packaged into one mantra. That's the greatest thing he contributed, Sage Vishwamitra. So eventually in this story, what you mean is, when he basically perhaps attained that Aham Brahmasmi status, that was the time perhaps when Sage Vasishta finally accepted. That was the time when Vishwamitra gave up his ego, his anger, everything, because the sadhana part perhaps was missing. So it is shown that by that time when he realized his anger was gone, his attitude was completely different. That is how it is shown. Maybe I also need to go and read a little bit more in detail, but I am recollecting whatever I have heard until now. So there also, if you see, the sadhana was to be done. First of all, the sadhana was more from a different perspective there, not on Adhyatma. It was more to gain something material and use it on someone else, or use that to get fame and name, not for Chitta Shuddhi. This is why every time he came, even along with Brahmastra, he could not win. Same thing was with Ravana. He won everything, including Ishvara. He won the heart of Ishvara. He had every planet under his legs. he had this guy was a great guy actually. He used to depict his power like anything, demonstrate his power actually. The way people demonstrate their power, politically also we have seen the way they do. He had put all these 9 planets as his steps to his throne actually. So he used to walk on them all the days to go and sit on his simhasana. This is how he had done. The way Trump is doing these days, he says this country, that country, this nonsense. He just picks up some guys, abducts and goes. Like that, and Ravana was like that actually. So it is very clearly depicted that only when sage Vishwamitra was addressing his mind to get Chitta Shuddhi more from a sadhana perspective as well, and then do vichara, become a Brahmagyani. That is how when he came back to Sage Vasishta, Vasishta said that you have cracked it now. I agree and accept that you are a Brahmarshi now. He accepts. So basically, if you say, it is more like saying, going back to the Guru saying that now I have done this job. And Guru says, Bas, now I understand you have done the job. Basically, it was like this. Because after one becomes Aham Brahmasmi, that person will not go to another person saying, now I have done Aham Brahmasmi, you have to give me an award. That is not the case. Because when you understand totality, even Sage Vasishta is not different from you. Simple as this. As much as Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva and you are the same, Jiva Ishvara Aikya has happened, you and Vasishta is also the same, everything is the same. You don't have to go back and ask him for that convocation. Obviously, I think the approach would have been that he would have wanted to go and tell his Kritagnyata more, and of course the Guru validated saying, yes, you are done now. So that is how it was depicted there. So this beautifully gives a journey as to how a person starts from a material pursuit, then understands that things do not last longer, including Brahmastra. And you will have every time another thing to achieve in material world. Better to give up material world if you want Purnananda. And when you go to Vichara, Shastra says there is just one problem, which is ignorance. Just address that. Purnananda, you don't need to order through Blinkit or me. It is you. It is you, in fact. And if you realize, in fact, I will have Purnananda. Shastra will say this. Because I see one small bubble which is thinking it is a bubble. It is me only, everything. But you are thinking you are separately there. And that's going to create a problem for me also. Because I don't want, in a company, there is an MD and you have a frustrated employee. That's not a good thing to have. So when Shastra comes, Shastra is totality, right? When it comes and when it thinks there is a bubble, oh God, why there is a bubble? I am totality, why there should be a bubble in me? Fine, let me poke that bubble and tell that this is where you are wrong. Prick it, bubble gone, totality exists. This is how it is actually. As much as figuratively possible, I am able to explain. I am trying to do that. Just this is what it is. If you ask me in today's session, I think I had said that we will have discussions based on questions, right? What I wanted to give was, since people have joined at different point in time, for example, Bhavya was not a part of our Vivekachudhamani sessions, but others were, I think, there in both the sessions. So I thought I'll give a summary from both the sides. That's the reason I wanted to give a little bit of overview from both the works and what they meant, and as to why this work itself is enough for a person to gain self-knowledge. I wanted to give that idea, but I didn't realize that I will have one whole session I will take to do this. It was just spontaneous flow. I just let my flow go, that's it. Now I pause and allow time for questions. Any length of time I am fine with. I'm not sure if I relieved everyone of not asking questions actually by just being spontaneous.
No, but so does that mean that this is the last class?
No, that's the reason I thought we will not say this as the last class, because contemplation is going to be there for length of time. Each one would take a longer time to understand. So what I thought was, it is a good thing to have the satsang always going on and not introduce more and more topics and only dwell on what we have already done. We will not buy more and more chewing gums. Whatever we bought, we will chew the best, like I think the Surya Kumar Yadav or Vivian Richards. One bubble gum, I think we have seen 2 bubble gums now, Vivekachudhamani and Kenopanishad. We do not need to buy more and more bubble gum and chew them. let us completely chew this and take the essence. That's the idea. So I think the way it helps us, one is that the more you go back and see what is there and where the doubts are, it will help you. And also when you are articulating, it will help others as well. So I think like if there are 5 persons, one person asking doubt clarifies that to 5 persons. In fact, others may not even have that doubt. So if you are asking a doubt, at least they know, okay, this is also perspective one has to understand. So if there are 5 doubts, so I think benefits will be 25 times, 5 into 5. So we should have the satsang. That's my commitment at least. If people also like that format, I would like to have this all the time. They see the same 1 hour. The only thing I want to happen is that now everyone has to get into nididhyasana, more and more of contemplation, assimilating what is taught. That's all. And also progressing in sadhana, keeping intact. Please remember Vishwamitra. You know what kind of efforts he had put in to get every time something. Even Brahmastra, he got that also. After that also, he was not successful. So finally, he had to address something that no, it is not material. That sadhana has to be followed, and then vichara has to be done. Only then you can crack. It was the same for Vishwamitra himself. We can understand this. So sadhana has to be kept intact. I don't have a chance to see how each one is doing the sadhana, but then I think you have to do that. Once you do that, vichara part is something which we will come and discuss here all the time. If that is fine, Manishji, that's okay, right?
Yes, sir.
So we will have. In fact, I enjoy this the most, but without the background, statements, analysis, perspectives, which we saw in Vivekachudhamani as well as Kenopanishad, this kind of a discussion, what we can do now, it would not have been possible earlier. Now, each of us know the technical terms which we normally talk, so it will not be new to people. And we also know certain basics like, adhikaratva, sadhana, viveka. So we know all these terms. It becomes more easier actually to have discussions, free flow discussions where everyone can participate.
Yes.
Right? So what we'll have is every time, what will be good is that each one, if they can read a particular part, or as per their contemplation, if they are getting stuck somewhere, to conclude or to understand that I am that Brahman right now, what is stopping me from understanding that I am Brahman? If they can just ask the question to themselves, these are the stumbling blocks, that's what has to be discussed. So this will be more a discussion format, and I think each one, if they bring in one question also, I think one perspective, in fact, it need not be even a question. If they are clear, they can even clarify the doubts of others. In fact, I would ask maybe the group itself, one of the other group members itself, to clarify the doubt of the first person, and if there is something to be corrected, only then I may be even stepping in. Otherwise, I may just leave it as it is. If one person is able to clarify the doubt of another person, it's fine. Finally, the doubt has to be cleared. Doesn't matter who has to clear the doubt.
Correct, and that will also give a lot of it will also give that thing that what you have understood correctly.
Absolutely.
And if you have not been able to understand to that depth, then you will be able to correct it, and then I think the it will be more fruitful.
Absolutely.
So can I make a suggestion here?
Sure.
And, if we maybe as you said that we pick up a part. So I have read Vivekachudhamani 2-3 times, but if I see what I have gained out of it is maybe just about 10% of what where I want to reach. I am only 10% of that. So if we can start reading that again, and then wherever we get, and then this goes more into discussion format, and then it will I think then we are graduating to the next stage of our learning.
Definitely yes. So that's the reason I want to leave it to each individual. They can consider either on Vivekachudhamani or on Kenopanishad. they can go through this, and each one can bring into a session certain points. Either you can list down in the group itself saying, I would like to discuss 1, 2, 3, so that in a way everyone knows what point each one is going to bring in. So it will be like a heads up for everyone.
So we can, on the group itself, maybe 1 or 2 days in advance, if somebody...
We can put that.
And we can put that, and somebody says, okay, I will be able to clarify this particular point.
Yes.
And with that, and with your guidance, this becomes, everybody will be more involved.
Absolutely. So it will be like more like a like a facilitator's role, where if only someone is going wrong, I have to intervene. Otherwise, if the concepts are very clear, there's nothing to be interfering or intervening at all actually. So I'll just be available, and I will definitely intervene where I know that the understanding is wrong. So there, because that's where the watertight situation has to be maintained. Because if someone is going wrong, sometimes I may allow them to be wrong, because eventually they will become right, because at that point they may not get it. But in a group, when we are discussing, I don't need to assume that, because there are others who can get it quickly also. So I will intervene and I will try to correct it.
Correct.
So if this model is fine, we can go with this model from next time onwards. So can everyone put hands up if they are fine with this? Okay, Bhavya, yes. Manishji, yes. Ashish, yes. What? Ashish has put so many hands. That's very good. Probably. Yeah, Sonia is also yes.
Actually, I also wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
Can you also upload your video when you are doing this Trikal Sandhya?
Trikala Sandhya, let me do one thing. If it is already there available, done by others, I can send that to you. I'll just find out. Giri Traders is someone I think who has done it. Let me just check if it is available. I can send it to you. And the only thing is, I think you won't find a video where they will explain the Vedanta part of it. Most of it will be more the ritual part of it.
Karma Khanda.
Because it starts with Karma Khanda. Eventually, it has to become Jnana over a period of time. So that Vedanta equivalent may not be there, but that I can explain. That's the class I had taken in. That's a session I had taken in Dwarka for the students there. Yeah, where all Vedanta is embedded in Trikala Sandhi. That part I had taken for them.
So one more request I had, Bhaskar sir, like you have experiences which you have maybe done over these classes in various locations you have been, and from the understanding point of view, if those things, if you can share, because still what we are, where you are and where we are not even 1% of where you have reached. And this journey of 99% which is leaving, and like if you can, with those experiences, and if those things where, say, if you say that, okay, in Coimbatore, this is what happened, and something, more of a, so we can start relating to that where this pursuit is going to take us to. And sometime, like in 10 minutes, if you can share those experiences of when you took a class in Dwarka, and what exactly, and explain that would be very good for people like us, because it's still what we are into. And I say myself is that, okay, we attend these classes, but it is from class to class. It is not, and during the week, it is so full that you, and then you suddenly realize that you have to read a little bit before a class. And so,
okay, so if you are relating,
the kind of a sadhana you have done, I think we are yet to reach that stage of sadhana, or I have to reach that stage of, I think a lot.
Understand.
I usually see that Sonia's questions are usually way above what we are thinking or I am thinking.
Yeah, agree.
So he is
yeah.
very, very well read
Yes,
into this.
yeah. So Sonya's mumukshutvam, at least what I have seen, the grade of mumukshutvam is like right now I want to understand it. So in fact, to a larger extent, Bhavya's is also like that actually. Since I have been interacting with her, I know this. It is just that each one's journey, as I said, the first part where in the material world, what they have faced, and have they had the real kick or trigger to think about an everlasting ananda. Have they reached that saying mumukshutvam? Have they reached that mumukshutvam grade? That is more important actually, because that is what is going to prioritize, put it first on the calendar. Swamiji, used to say this very nicely. Swami Paramarthananda, I think, he used to say, it is not enough for a person to be curious to know about this Vedanta. They have to be serious, not to be just curious. So he used to use this word, put across this perspective very nicely actually. One has to be serious, only then that sadhana itself will come. Because sadhana is pain. Because normally okay, pain from which perspective? Normal disposition is that let us sleep longer. That is the normal disposition. That's where tamas, maya, tamas, rajas will play that only. Satvika buddhi, satvika practice is normally rare. But lot of them would be in that disposition, either because of their purva janma karma or this janma, what they have already matured quick enough. The world has given them maturity to quickly come out of it and develop more of sattva. That decides what kind of efficacy will be there in vichara. That's all. So one definitely cannot be just curious to know, one has to be serious to know.
Serious to know.
That's it.
I think it says a lot.
One has to be serious. So see, lot of these things, what impacted me. Definitely, I know what impacted me in terms of words. Those words I'll always keep sprinkling. Whenever it comes to my mind, I'll say that these words are very, very important. And for example, one line I always keep saying, Manayeva Manushyanam Karanam Bandha Moksha Yoho. When I came across the sentence for the first time, that was a wow kind of an experience. Like we can't accuse mana and belittle that. Isn't any manas is a useless thing, that is what is creating me all the problems. No. Swamiji, he changes the perspective by saying, Manayeva Manushyanam Karanam Bandha Moksha Yoho. As much as it is the reason for problem, for bondage, it is so much the reason for realization as well, release as well. Because the problem where it is, that's the place where it is addressed, and solution also comes from there only. So he says, Manaha, don't treat it as tucha. It is a blessing. Use that only to get you out of the problem. So that's a great revelation at that time when I saw it. So some of those things which kind of change kind of which create kind of a paradigm shift, I will always keep sharing them. Good. So what we'll do is from next time, I request each one to keep continuing sadhana and keep doing this this contemplation, and come back to this session and let us read. So I do know that I think who does it. I can share that Sonia reads a lot actually. She is reading Bhagavad Gita, and in fact many a times I learned many new works from Sonia actually. Something to do with Kabir Das work, most of this North Indian Tulsidas ji, all these work, she's quite well versed, and she's able to relate the Advaita concept in their lines as well, and they are all so apt actually. Like the way I bring some of the Shiva Vakya and many other Bharats, Subramanya Bharati, the Advaita part what they have written. So like the way, because I know the south part of it very well, so she's able to bring in this part of it actually, Kabir Das and Sur Das and others, she knows very well those. Maybe even from some of the Punjabi's related works. She brings in a lot actually. Maybe we can also have Sonia also share some of those things which are very much related to Advaita Vedanta. I think others will be able to relate well. At least those people who are from North, they'll be able to relate that very well as well. It will be helpful. So let's have perspectives from everyone. That's the way to go from next session onwards. Hope it will be very nice actually, and I'm sure that is the right way to go also.
Yes, looking forward to it.
Sure, great, super. So we'll chant Purnamada. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Just to share with everyone, after a long time I have started with a new work, on Vedanta, where I learn and I keep, taking notes. So for a long time I have been somehow staying away from that, and I started recently. So I started listening to the lectures of Swami Paramarthananda on Chandogya Upanishad. So I'm in the journey of learning that particular Upanishad. The content is the same. In fact, Tattvamasi comes in this Upanishad, Chandogya Upanishad. So I'm learning that. So my routine is, normally when I do such things, I get up at 4:30. So if that helps as a buddy to others, you can use that, just, yes, for certain things we have to sacrifice certain things. So normally what I have seen is that unless it is for spiritual things like this, I don't, I don't get great energy to sacrifice things. But if it is a spiritual thing, I can get up anytime. I can even stop sleeping also. Somehow that is what it has been with me. So I'm doing that. So kind of I've got back into the routine of 4:30, waking up time. Of course, after a certain routine, around 5:30 or 5:45, I'll start listening for either 45 minutes or so, and then do my exercise. So that, routine I have come back to. Those days when I used to by heart Vivekachudhamani, not as a part of self knowledge pursuit, I had already done. 2003 I had cracked it. 2005 I had by hearted the entire Vivekachudhamani because I thought it's like a rasa amrita, just take it inside. So I started by hearting. So I used to get up at 4:30 those days also. Whenever I want to do these things, I used to get up very early actually and do all these things. So it is inevitable. When you have to achieve something, it is inevitable. We have to do that. Just thought of sharing this with you. Okay, Hari Om.
Okay,
Good day,
Hari
all of you.
Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om Bhaktaji, Hari Om Om.
Hari Om.
Hmm.
Hari Om sir.
Hari Om.